when a year passes you by, sometimes you got to do the things you've already done, but with added people.
Yeah.
That's the way life works.
Sometimes, yes.
So we got to do another training camp.
Whee!
But this time we have a new member of the band, so they get to come along. And everyone's totally not going to goof off this time. No goofing off. Zero.
Nope.
It's all serious business all day, every day.
All business all the time. No play.
Just like here. We're all business all the time. On
Are we?
Obviously. On Jared and Al Watch K-On! This is episode number 10, because it's the 10th episode of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking to you about episode 10 called Another Training Camp. I'm Jared, the Sand Lady, by the way.
Hi.
So let's talk about another training camp. They went on another training camp. All right, thank you for joining us for this week's episode.
God,
it was
you
real
can't
good.
do that. No, so we've had this this struggle with the light music club with, do we play or do we practice? And
The eternal struggle.
the struggle is real, and that's going to happen again here, where we're like, hey, we need to do another training camp, but also we want to play, but we need to practice. And we find out that Moogie has like another giant house that is cramped. It's crazy.
Cramped in quotations, we should mention.
Moogie says it's her cramped house. Everybody else is like, this house is even bigger. But yeah, they're at the beach, and they take a vote. Like, all right, are we gonna play first or we gonna practice first?
And it becomes a split decision.
Unsurprisingly. Yes, it is split.
With Moogie being the tiebreaker. And she's like, I vote for play. And he was like, an unseen betrayal. So they head to the beach to have some fun. All the fun. And Azusa is just like sitting with Mio and Moogie, and she's like fuming, like, we should be practicing. Why are we playing?
My favorite thing is that like Yui comes up to her and is like, hey, do you want to play? And you're like, no, we'll practice. And then she's like, oh, I get it. You're not good at sports. She's like, what? I'm great at sports. Bring it. And like that's how she gets her to play, is just by freaking baiting her. And I don't even think that Yui meant to bait her.
No.
You were just like, oh, I get it. You're just not good at this kind of thing, because that's how she is as a character. She's just like, oh, okay, that's fine. But by her saying that, she just triggered something.
Also, before they even get to like the beach, Azusa's like, I wonder what Moogie thinks of when she thinks of like playing at the beach, and she imagines them all on like this huge yacht, like laying out, Yui and Ritsu recreating the Titanic.
Yep.
And then like she's like, that'll never happen. And then like there's like a yacht just comes into the shot, and then like it cuts back to like Moogie like, I told you I don't need the yacht. I don't need all this stuff out here anyway. You're embarrassing me.
She's like crying on the phone. I felt really bad.
Poor girl doesn't want to be normal.
I don't know that I really feel all that bad, because like she has a yacht, so
and multiple summer houses that are too cramped.
Too cramped.
So they have a lot of fun at the beach. Mio inadvertently gets scared because Oz is like, hey, let me tell you the story about barnacles and how like someone died from them or whatever. And then just Mio's just like constantly in every single shot afterwards just like running away.
There's like a red arrow pointing to where she is.
And then eventually she's like, oh, I'm fine now. I'm totally okay. And then Ritsu just like scares her and she just passes out. And then the end of the day comes and they're like, oh, well, we should get back and practice. And I was just like, yeah, we should have done this from the beginning. I can't believe no one decided to practice. And they all look at her like, what are you talking about? You're the one who played the most out of all of us, because she's like sunburned and everything.
Extremely sunburned.
And she's like, oh no. So they actually go back to the house and practice. Yui is amazed by Oz's tuner and is like, what is this? I've never seen this before. Why do you use this thing? And Oz is like, what, how did you tune your guitar before? And she's like, oh, I just do it by ear.
She has perfect pitch. It's hilarious how, like, throughout the series, we realize that Yui is simultaneously terrible at guitar, but also, like, a prodigy at guitar.
Right?
It's hilarious.
She can't read music,
Mm-mm.
but she can play things by ear perfectly.
She can't take care of her guitar, but she can tune it by ear perfectly.
It doesn't make sense, but it works.
It's hilarious. I love it because she's just like so oblivious, but also just like stupidly talented.
So they get like one practice session in, and then Ritu's just like, oh, I'm so hungry.
Food, cabbage.
So they go and buy food, and then like Ritu just gets this cabbage. I was like, cabbage, this is mine.
Which like cabbage.
Who does she think she is, Adachi?
Oh my god! Wow, wow.
So they get things ready to and have like kebabs and everything like that. Yui and Ritu cut up onions and just like cry throughout the entirety of it.
Yep.
And they have a good meal. After that, they play with some sparklers. And Moogie just,
What was the firework thing where they put it together?
oh, I forget.
It's like Spark Man or something.
Spark Man, yeah. Sparkler Man.
Sparkler Man. Yeah, Moogie has the whole thing of like her sparkler keeps dying out, and so they have like a weird pep talk about fireworks.
After that, they decide to have a bravery contest or a test of courage. Because you can't have a summer camp without one of those.
I learned that.
I'm surprised you didn't know that. Like, that's like a staple.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't know that I've seen one like in an anime, but they do that here, and
Which really just involves them going out into the woods. And that's it.
which Mia's already like scared of everything because that's who she is,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Man, doing this in high school, that's crazy, right? Why would we? Huh? Weird. Everything's fine, right?"
Right? And then they get
it's
startled.
not- They get startled. There is like this ghostly figure crawling towards them with a weird suitcase.
And then it turns out it's Miss Yamanaka.
Yep, she's been trying to follow them and got lost.
So yeah, they bring her back, and then they go into the bath and have baths. No one is surprised by Ritsu's hair this time. But Miss Yamanaka gets punched.
Yeah, good. I don't like it when people are like, "Man, let's just like fill up your boobs." Especially because she's an adult, like that's really creepy.
She gets bonked.
She gets bonked really hard. She deserved it.
So after that, they all go to sleep. As Asuka gets up at one point and goes to the bathroom, and then like walks by with the practice room and notices Yui's in there still practicing, and she goes in and like they have this little practice session where she helps out Yui through this like one section of one of their new songs, and it's like, oh, just play it at like half the time, and she's like, oh, that's how you do this.
They kind of bond.
Mhm.
It's cute.
I was just surprised that Yui's actually taking things seriously for once.
Yeah.
So after that, we get like a redo of the beginning of the episode where Ui's like, I'm hanging out with Azusa today, and then Azusa shows up and it's like all tanned, and she's like, hey, hello, and Ui's like, oh, hey,
Who are you?
And then they just talk about like how the trip was and all the weird quirks that Azusa found out about all the members and everything. And that's how they end up the end of the episode.
It was funny because she was like, "Man, all we did was play. We didn't practice at all, and it sucked." And He's like, it's weird. My sister didn't come back sunburned at all.
She's like, oh,
You're very
crap.
sunburned.
No,
She's like, I played the
no.
most out of all of them.
We got some trivia for this episode.
All right, hit me.
This episode marks the time Azusa learns about the financial background of Tsumugi and her family.
Oh, that makes sense.
This episode also marks the first time Azusa visits the training camp that Light Music Club had gone to the previous year, which, yeah. And in Azusa's imagination, Yui and Ritsu recreate a scene from the Titanic.
Yep. Which you mentioned.
I did.
I'm flying, Jack.
No Celine Dion, though.
Do.
This isn't Mario Kart.
Oh, God. That was genius. That's probably still like the best thing we've ever done in Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's it for this episode. Next time, we will be discussing episode number 11. It's entitled Crisis.
Crisis.
Things are gonna happen. But
Man, I wonder what would possibly happen that would cause a crisis.
Who knows?
I guess we'll find out next week.
So until then, if you'd like more from us, go to seasonlanimecheckup.com or sac.cool, where you can find past episodes of this podcast and other podcasts like the Season Lanime Checkup and Season Lanime Checkup OVA, and columns and reviews on the site as well. You can find more from Anladium at anladium.com. She's got columns and reviews, and you can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/animecheckup. So next time, let's talk about episode 11.